it's about everything else, never Sue. So it's a lot easier. I'm in a room of love. There you go. Thank you, Christy. First, I want to say thank you so much. I mean, this is pretty overwhelming. I'm not going to cry.
Not much.
Not much. But I do want to say thank you because this is amazing to have this many people out to support me. And they were saying at the front, you know, tell me, what do we say about your book? I'm like, well, I don't know. So first I want to say thank you to Eric and Jordan. And did I see Daniel Bennett somewhere? Did Daniel come in somewhere? These guys, he's here somewhere, I don't know where, but these three guys have stood by me, and they've been like sons that I didn't give birth to. One son I did give birth to is up there, and one's in Dallas. But these guys have been awesome in supporting everything I've done, and I just want to say thank you, and I love you. Thank you. I'd like to just share a little bit of how this book started, because I'll do a Cliff Note version, because it started in 2000. I was diagnosed in 99. At that time, my younger son had just gotten married. My older son was in Cancun getting engaged to be married. Number one on my bucket list, and this was way before the movie came out, so I call it a life list, a bucket list, whatever, was to be a grandmother. I finally tell my kids, forget the wives, just, I want a baby. I want to be a grandmother so bad. Because unfortunately, my kids did not get to enjoy their grandparents the way I wanted to do the sport. You know, all of you that are grandparents know exactly what I'm talking about. So in 2000, I lived in Conroe, Texas, and I was team leader of Keller Williams Realty. Woohoo! And still to this day, I get yeah, it's a good company. But I was driving home one day after work. It had been probably 9 or 10 months since the day I had been diagnosed. The agents were driving me nuts because they wanted, you've got to go tell your story. You've got to do talks. You've got to do a book. I'm like, I just want to get well. Just leave me alone, right? So I'm driving home from work one day, and just as I was crossing over the water, the sky was that color blue, and I'm having my conversation with God. And I said, God, get him to back off. I'm not a writer. I'm not, you know, I just want to live. I just want to live, and I want to be a grandmother. Now, at this point, we had found out that my older granddaughter was on the way. So it's like, yeah, God has a great sense of humor. You know, it's awesome. So I'm driving home, and I said, God, if you really want me to do a book or do talks, I need a sign. So just show me a sign. And out of the clouds comes hope in dissipated clouds. Big letters, which of course freaked me out because I'm like, okay, I'm not on any drugs. I'm hallucinating and I'm losing it. So I pull the car over, and then I look at it again, and here it is, huge in an arc, like a rainbow. But it had dots. I'm like, okay, why has hope got periods between it? That's weird. So of course I asked God, and he doesn't answer. So I drive home, and the second I walk through the back door, and I set my purse down on a chair. This was, let's see, this was 2000, so this was the second time that God spoke to me. The first day was the day I was diagnosed. And he said, well, health, optimism, passion, enthusiasm. Okay. He said, that works for me. That's what I want you to do your talks on one day and write a book on. Now go make a difference. Okay. Well, of course, you know what that did. I went way away. That was 2000. 2001, I moved to Dallas. I'm at home. Now, I can't remember what I did yesterday, but I remember this as if it happened 2 seconds ago. I was sitting at my desk on the computer, and I forwarded a cool, inspirational, motivational email to somebody. Don't know what it was or who it was to. But the second I hit send, that box came up. You don't have a subject. I leaned back, and I said, God, I don't have a subject. What do you put on? I don't even know what this is, right? And he spoke again, and this time he went, Good Monday morning. Do y'all remember that movie with Robin Williams about Good Morning Vietnam? That's what he sounded like. And he said, I think that is a perfect title for that email. Okay. And he goes, oh, and by the way, you're going to do these every Monday. Oh, good, okay. So literally every Monday morning at 7 o'clock, if you're in Central Time and you're on that list, you get a good Monday morning from me and God, because Sue's not a writer. I still profess I'm not a writer. It's God doing it. But at any rate, time passed, and he sort of let up on me for a while about writing the book. But I would kind of start it and move it to the side. And March a year ago, he came down, and as we all know, and I think you all would agree with me, when we want something and we have a dream, we typically don't get it because we always have two excuses, don't we? I don't have the time and I don't have the money. That just seems to be the American way. I don't know why we do that, but we crush our dreams and we don't allow them to become our reality because either we don't have the time or we don't have the money. So that was always my excuse. I can't afford to write a book. Are you kidding me? I don't have that kind of money. So March a year ago, he came down and he said, Sue, we're done. There is no more procrastinating. You are going to write a book. But. He goes, there are no buts, there are no ifs, there are no ands. You are writing a book. So deal with it. Okay, well, what can you say to that? Okay. So I began to gather, and he said, because I'm like, I don't want it to be my story. I just wasn't congruent with that yet. And he said, how about Good Monday Mornings? You've been doing it for years. Let's do that. Okay, now that was easy. That made it easy. So I go back and I start collecting them. And being the visual person, I have to print them out, put them in a notebook rather than looking at them on the computer. I'm not that techy. And I printed out 182 Good Monday Mornings. And I called my good friend in South Padre who has donated a 2-night stay at their gorgeous hotel in South Padre. And she comped me a condo overlooking the ocean. I took a dog I had just become mother of, and we go there and we sit and I start reading all these Good Monday Mornings. And I called my sister, I said, these were really good. I mean, I had read them for typos and punctuation and just thrown them in a folder. I didn't ever read them for content. I went, these are really pretty darn good. She goes, well, yeah. So therein became that. Now that was March a year ago. And until June, 2 months ago, all these 200 plus pages sat in a 3-ring binder just in all this conglomerated mess. I was at a networking event, Greg Palomino, wherever he is, right there. I was at Greg's, so you're responsible for this. I was at Greg's networking event, and Don Varney, which I know several of you know, comes all the way across the room, grabs me and says, there's somebody you've got to meet. Where is she? Get over here. He said, you have got to meet Athena Dean. I'm like, okay. And he goes, she is going to get your book done. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So I had already talked to 3 or 4 people that just didn't quite feel right, or either I made the excuse they didn't feel right, probably. And I met this crazy little precious lady and went, you're it. And she goes, okay. So we met the next morning, and this was like June probably 7th or 8th, because on June 11th we signed a contract. June 11th, this is August 13th, so that's 2 months and 2 days, and my book has gone to print because of her. So,